All right. Yes, my name is Stephen Wyant. I'm with the Cincinnati Reds. I am the data guy. Data guy at Cincinnati Reds is a whole bunch of different things, but working with both baseball statistics, but also our business side as well. Most stuff I'm going to show you today is around the business side, but I might touch a little bit of getting into some live game data as well that is actually occurring right now, if the game is still going on. So we'll start it up. Just give you a little bit of history on the Cincinnati Reds. So we're a small IT organization, small really business across the board. We have about 20 IT folks, which is obviously less than we have on our 25-man roster. So that gives you an idea of the scale in terms of the employees. But we do have nine minor league teams across 9 different cities. We have 2 facilities in the Dominican Republic, and we handle all of the IT there as well within those shops or those stadiums. We were founded in 1881. We have 5 World Series rings that we are very, very proud of. I really want one of those because then I'd actually get a ring if we can win another one. But right now, this season, it's ugly this year. So hopefully next year is the year. 9 National League pennants. We've got 11 players. Numbers retired, 10 Hall of Fame players. And I was going to ask a question, who knows why there's only 11 players retired and only 10 of those are in the Hall of Fame? And I kind of put that up there. Pete Rose, right? So Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame, although he should be. So the data flow for us, so the reason that we started looking at Couchbase is because we have a very nice data warehouse. We have a lot of feeds that go into it. We go through the whole ETL process, and it works very well for historical processing. What it doesn't work well for is some of the things that we've wanted to do in Stadium and so on and so forth. So that's what I'm going to kind of share with you today is how we've kind of changed this graphic and what that means for the Reds and for our fans and for our customer base, so as a whole. So when we started looking at it and scouting for new technologies, one of the things obviously that we wanted to look at is innovation. And I probably push even Couchbase quite a bit in this, that I'm always looking at the newest things, all right? And I have a little bit of experience the last 2.5 years before I joined the Reds within Hadoop. Been working with building out solutions, so I was very familiar with that. A little bit familiar with NoSQL, but really, really familiar with Hadoop and Exadata and all that kind of platform. So I wanted to see where we could kind of move the needle within that. Integration, so one of the issues that we have in baseball is that some of our partners that we get data from are new to IT as well. Obviously, we're not a big IT organization. Some of the organizations that we work with and pull data from are also small. So when I'm talking about concessionaires, how they get data and receive it, they're starting to use Mongo, sad, and what they do there is that they're always changing the schema, right? And they don't necessarily let us know when that occurs. So they just keep sending it to us, and we have to fix our ETL process, so on and so forth. So not an easy process. So we wanted to fix that. We also wanted to make it very easy. So within, obviously the Reds, not a big group, 20 people, and most of the people are SQL-oriented type of IT personnel. So we had to make sure that it had some SQL functionality out of the box. And then, of course, we wanted to, from an innovation standpoint, from the results, we wanted to get faster analytics and dashboarding. So that's what I'll kind of focus on as we move through. When I started looking at Couchbase and some of the things that it does really, really well, at least when we first looked at it and why we kind of picked it. So SQL capability is obviously one of the big things. It's very easy with a nickel language to learn and pick up if you have a base knowledge of SQL. On that, you also had the analytic workbench, which was brand new, and I started wanting to look at that and play around with it so we could do those quick reactions to whatever is occurring in the stadium or through our marketing efforts. Same thing with React on content and stuff like that. The other thing is that extendable and ease of administration. I didn't want to impact our infrastructure team very much, and I've kind of taken that on a little bit because it's a simple tool to administer and use without really filling up our infrastructure guys. Problem with our infrastructure guys is they handle all the ballpark operations. So every TV within the facility, they're handling that, plus our servers and all that kind of stuff. So they're very, very overworked. The last thing, no connection woes. I'm not going to get into this very much, but on the mobile side, I'm interested in for some of our conventions, for instance, where we post players around the convention hall, and we don't announce them until a minute or so beforehand. That will help push those notifications down without much wireless capability sometimes. So that's something we're going to look at in the future. So, again, kind of pushing into where I thought we might take this with Couchbase. So when you're looking at, the data in near real-time data flow without transformation, one of the things I liked about it, and I said that I've worked with Hadoop a little bit, is that in Hadoop, I always had to transfer the data a little bit. And this tool, I truly do not have to do it. I can flow it right in there, and the data is immediately ingestible, and I can send a notification and something come back, and we can digest that within milliseconds as well. So that was one of the exciting things for us. Oops, wrong way. Analytics. So again, this is kind of getting at fan interactions. We wanted to be able to display what was occurring in the ballpark in real time or near real time. And then, like I said, taking action on data flowing into the system. For in this case, you see that perhaps it was raining. We get a notification within our service or within our data flow. Eventing can then trigger something, a marketing message that goes out to specific customers that we now know are in the stadium because they scanned in, and can offer them and tell them where to find ponchos, for instance. All right, and then bringing it all together. Thing that we really liked is everything is incorporated into one. So if you look at the scoreboard up there, in terms of maybe we have a real-time report that shows we sent out 250 poncho notifications and we had 100 total purchases. We had a seat upgrade offer that went out to 100 patrons, and 5 people chose to take us up on the seat offer. And then maybe we have a Twitter thing too, where we can sit there and track from our Twitter account that 5 people within the stadium actually were interacting with us, and we had 400 retweets within the stadium as well. So truly looking at that game day experience and trying to bring all that together, and then putting it out into a report that people, while they're going through the stadium, they can actually look at a mobile application and they can see what is actually occurring. So really cool stuff. So how has our data flow kind of changed? You see up at the left-hand corner, you have a bunch of batch data. Right below it, you see that we have now real-time source data. I put a couple of those up there in terms of Twitter and weather. MLB, which is MLB BAM, is where we get a lot of our MLB game stats and statistics. And then GateLink is one of our sources for ticket scan information. What I've set up is NiFi. If anyone is familiar with NiFi, I'll actually show it to you here in a little bit. That actually streams data in real time into Couchbase. And then Couchbase, obviously, then it allows us to incorporate that analytics and data exchange through either a person holding a cell phone, a report through NoE, which I'll talk about and show you in a little bit, or provide some analytics outsourced with R or Spark. So that's kind of the new infrastructure that we have now set up to allow for it. The important thing there, and I think this freaked some people out within the Reds, is that we still have that enterprise data warehouse, which is still the source of truth. We haven't gotten rid of it. We've just kind of improved the situation to allow for new mechanisms to be at play. All right, so marketing at speed. This is what I'm going to show you, hopefully a demo if it works, a little of this. So what Couchbase has helped us out with is the who, what, when, where, how. From a who, if you have the ballpark app, you have to come in the stadium, you scan that out. We have notification within a second, 2 seconds at the most, that Bob Smith has entered the stadium. If Bob Smith is a VIP, we can go ahead and send out an offer to him. Like I put there, hey Bob, Joanna Redlegs has arrived at the stadium and will be in suite 133. So if that customer sales rep wants to go visit Joanna Redlegs, they can go do that. They know they're in the stadium. While in today's world, the person actually has to go walk all the way to the suite and see if they're there. Oh, not there. Then they come back and they're like, oh, well, it's 5 minutes. Maybe they're there then. Nope, still not there. So it's just a big waste. So now they have that information. And if they want to interact with them, even through a cell phone or through the ballpark app, that's going to be something we look at as well. So again, the where is obviously within the stadium for this example that I'm going to show you, and the how is obviously Couchbase. So I'm going to try to show you this in action now, if it works, and hopefully it does. So first, I'm going to show you NiFi. How many of you have seen NiFi before? Anybody? Cool, a couple people. So NiFi is really, really easy. The thing that I like about it is that it is a very light touch workflow ETL tool. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do something. I'm throttling this because the game is not occurring right now. So I've introduced some lag into the system. So I have a little query to our database in this case, just because the game is not actually occurring. I'm going to kick off the process, and you're going to actually see data flowing, which is really cool. So it pulled down 145, 14,489 tickets. Okay, if this was a real-time data flow, what you would actually see is that as people scanned in, one person, two people, three people, it'd all show up and you'd actually see them scanning in. It's really cool. You can actually see the information as it flows as well. So if I came into here and I want to look at it, you can actually see it. So right here is the put Couchbase. So all I'm doing basically is I'm creating a document key, and then I'm putting it into Couchbase right here. If I refresh it, you're going to see that that number is going up. I've just got it queued up here. And then I'm displaying this within a wonderful tool called NiFi that I've also throttled up. So we'll see if this is going to react. So you actually see the dots start filling up. Again, this is all in real time. This is as people scan in. And then we can build off customer profiles as that happens as well. The other thing is that we have something set up through eventing, which I showed you, that as one of these VIP customers might come in the stadium, that it would send off a text message to alert us that something was occurring. So you'll see this refresh here pretty soon, and you'll see more dots pop up. Like I said, I've just throttled it down just a little bit so we can kind of see this in play. So we'll wait a couple seconds here. Hopefully it's gonna update. What you see on the dots, the blue and the red, so what I've done there it goes again. So the blue is actual season ticket holders. The red is the non-season ticket holders. So you can put household information on there if you want to look at specific households. If you wanted to only look at the VIPs, you could look at the VIPs. We could give a copy of this report to individuals that you can actually go down here. I don't know if this is working, but you can drill down within this to see the top accounts. And if I were to click on one of those, it would filter this graphic to only show those accounts within the stadium. And really cool stuff. Eventually, we're going to overlay this. If I go over one of these points on the map, you'll see not just account name, but you're going to see their customer profile. So you'll see how much spend they've had, what their maybe favorite Reds player is, so on and so forth, all within this kind of a concept of a map. All right, and there's also going to be some fiscal numbers surrounding it, which is kind of like a real live dashboard scoreboard. So that's that. Second thing I'm going to show you, and this is kind of bringing things to life even more, is if I go out here, I'm going to check to see if there's a game going on. And this kind of gets at the fact that data can be very, very quickly pulled and ingested. So MLB game's going on. I was hoping for a Reds game. There's a game right here, Tampa Bay and Texas. Devil Rays versus the Rangers. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to pull this guy. That's the game ID. I'm going to go over here into my lovely NiFi tool. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to update this. So again, all this is a connection to, in this case, an API. I'm going to go ahead and put this here. So now I've got a game. Push apply. I'm going to push start. I'm going to just do it start for a real quick second. The reason I'm doing that is because that's going to pull in one document really fast. I don't want to pull down multiple. If I do it again, all it's going to do in Couchbase is overwrite the same document over and over and over again, because how I've set this up is all I do again is I create a document with a game primary key on it, and then I ingest that into Couchbase with a identifier of that being a game. So if I go into the analytics platform, which, oh, by the way, this is my analytic query that pulls down the dashboard, which is really cool. You see how quick it can run. It usually, 2 seconds, 3 seconds can pull down information. I will pull here, go to game, and I will do this just for fun. So what I'm doing here, live data.plays.current play demo game. So I've got this all set up already. This is the game that's actually occurring. If I go over to the right, you'll actually see that Jake Bowers is pitching at the moment. I believe that's a relief pitcher. And you will actually see that, where's the batter? You'll see that as well, somewhere in here. Like I said, it's a very big JSON document. So one of the issues is that we've had a hard time parsing this out in the past. So our application development team is very slow to make changes, and they're very reluctant to utilize as much information as what is available to them. So I'll give you an idea of how big this document actually is in terms of depth. And it constantly updates. Every time there's a play, every time there's a pitch, anytime something is occurring in the game, you'll actually see something occurring in there. Oops, there it is. So if I come down, you will actually see all of this game data is a big, big JSON. If I come over here, same sort of deal. You'll see it. It's rather large. And it just keeps getting added to as the game is continuing on. And the nice thing is, what that allows us to do, if I flip back to my lovely PowerPoint presentation, is it allows for something like this within the ballpark. What that is a live shot of the Cleveland Indians playing the Reds back in, I think it was August. And that JSON that you just saw is what could power all of this. So pulling down all the statistics, the win probability, what the score is, and then we put this within a part of our ballpark called Scouts Club, and you can actually interact with it. So if I were to click on Greg Allen, for instance, it would pop up his spray chart, for instance. A spray chart is where a person has hit a ball throughout the season. And I could choose to show 2017 or 2018 or whatever I have, and I can kind of scroll through and see stats in real time, and it updates. So really, really cool stuff. So, as I'm looking about the Couchbase infrastructure and trying to think, have we done enough? Are we going to keep pushing forward? Are we hanging up the cleats, as I like to say in here? Obviously not. We're going to keep pushing the boundaries of what Couchbase has to offer, what we kind of want to do in park and also out of park, and then in some of our other facilities, so we can understand our fan base even greater. And I'll give you an idea of one of the things. So from a householding side, if everybody is familiar with householding is a notoriously sort of difficult process to manage and handle because there's so many different ways of inspecting a customer and so many endpoints in terms of where people are creating customers. Same thing for us. So we have our CRM, for instance, which is Microsoft Dynamics in the cloud. What we want to start doing and looking at is creating this real-time household engine. So if Rosie Redlegs comes in, one of our mascots, and we know that Rosie Redlegs is in the same household as Mr. Red up there and Gapper, that's their child, that we would go through this process. Whenever a document hits our Couchbase database, it would kick off an eventing process to place Rosie Redlegs in the proper household as Mr. Red and Mr. Gapper there. And then we'd feed that back into our ETL and eventually back into Microsoft CRM Dynamics. What we're also looking at is just pushing that back into CRM so we have that immediate feedback that one of our reps, for instance, created a duplicate account. And whereas right now that's a big issue for us because, oh crap, we got all these duplicates. Now it's not going to matter because it's just another account. We're going to have households on top of that. So it just fixes the whole conundrum of what do you do with duplicates. We just don't care. So that's what we're hoping for, and that's what we're pushing forward to now on some of that front. So anyways, I think that's about all the time that I have, I think, pretty much for today. I appreciate you guys listening to me. If you have questions, I'm going to be available. I'll be walking around a little bit throughout the day. Feel free to pull me aside, and we can have a quick discussion about this or anything else that you guys might have some interest in. So I appreciate it.